In UFC, all are at the gunpoint of Dana White. If you're late or if you screw up, better pack your bags and go. Cause that's what Dana would ask you to do. But not all players have the same treatment. There is a behemoth inside the octagon who owns the rules and regulation of UFC, and probably Dana White himself, and whatever he says is the new rule. Yes, you might have guessed, we are talking about none other than the notorious Conor McGregor. From coming late to press conferences, holding the belt for too long so that UFC has to reschedule the fight, fighting a referee, and even assaulting his opponent's team and family outside the octagon, you can get away with any stuff if you are Conor McGregor. The only question is how? How it all comes around the way of Conor inside the MMA world. And in order to unravel the secret, we can first jump right into the first one. Well, we have seen celebrities often comes late to function, and since Conor has grown to a level of celebrity who have entered as the #1 in the Forbes list, he was forced to follow the culture. Yeah, it's funny. Trust me. The Conor McGregor press conference are always programmed to be late. The UFC, Dana, and even the audience knows this. Well, it gives them time to relax a little bit because the main boy is not yet here. It's surprising, yet funny to see that even Dana White is patient to that. I mean, what's there to fuss about if your franchise gets some couple hundred millions from a man who comes a little late? And also, if you complain to him, the obvious Conor McGregor reaction would be,
"Sorry I'm late, I just don't give a fuck!"
Well, it's the typical Conor. I mean, what more do you expect? And for expectations for a legend like him, he could hold the champion's belt until he wants to. Let me explain that. You know the law in UFC states that once the fighter is being renounced as the champion, he can only possess the belt until a certain amount of time. And by time, I mean a year. And if you do not return back to the octagon, you will have to return the belt to the UFC for the next championship. But we are not talking about normies here. When Conor won the lightweight championship against Eddie Alvarez, he declared that the lightweight was his kingdom, and he had no near intentions to return it.
Conor McGregor!
He held the belt for about 550 days, and at that time he didn't even announce his return, which left the UFC authorities in a big dilemma. Our boy doesn't follow the rules of the common fighters here. Of course, other fighters have held the belt for long, like Dominic Cross, who held the title for 17 days. But that case there was entirely different. Dominic at that time had a serious injury on his knees, which caused him a year of his career. And if you are Conor McGregor, you could literally choose whoever you want to fight with, whether it be Polyana Viana or John Johns. Well, not John Johns, actually. But how? Conor has a controversial freedom inside UFC to jump from all the weight division, whether it be featherweight or lightweight. And yes, it happened all in front of other fighters' eyes. For instance, when Aldo pulled out of the fight, he fought Mendes in short notice, and when RDA pulled out, he fought Diaz on short notice. Typical Conor could take anybody at any time. But there are some unfair advantages for Conor McGregor, which you may find quite unreal. But the real dagger is not here. You all know how the Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor fight went. Beating all his expectations, Conor lost the fight to Nate Diaz. And if you are a normal fighter, Dana will lock you up and put you back to your previous division to defend your previous title. But again, not for Conor. That is how the rematch in welterweight happened, and the rest is history. And the lightweight title, it's for the birds. Well, if you think these things are acceptable, you might want to buckle up for the next one. Do you think you can fight with the referee and get off easily? Well, if you are Conor, you can.
All of a sudden, Conor McGregor going after the referee.
When Conor happened to show off in Bellator 187 in Dublin to support his teammate Charlie Vord, things got a little out of hand. Yeah, it is fine. Lots of UFC fighters have shown their presence in Bellator competitions to show their support to their fellows, but very few would have become the center of attention, especially when you jump out of the cage and steal the show. And that's what Conor did. As usual, the referee has to intervene when such things happen inside the ring, and that's what this ref did too. But he, for instance, forgot that he might have to deal with the notorious one this time. Well, it's not UFC, and it's not the UFC referee, so Conor doesn't give a fuck. He can do whatever he wants. Oh, and by the way, Conor slapped a commissioner in the face. But to your surprise, the Bellator was airing and advertising this event in order for the promotion. And you can see the TV ratings skyrocketing. I mean, who wants to miss a typical Conor McGregor fight? Well, this is only the start of the show. From here, I'm going to show you the real incident that led to Conor destroying the fighter's bus and reputation. But now, let me point out how easily Conor gets away by switching to boxing and coming back to MMA as if nothing happened. Well, for the promotion of his franchise, Conor almost left UFC boxing to compete with the big whale in boxing, Floyd Mayweather. And we all know how the promotions for the event went. Yeah, now you're probably thinking, what's wrong with UFC? Yeah, you are right, anybody can, even I can, if I am a professional MMA fighter. But the cool credit you get when you are this millionaire is that not only you can leave, but come back as if nothing happened. Yeah, I know. Smooth. Dana White is like, yeah, sure, Conor, why not? No other MMA fighters could ever dream of having a switch like this. I mean, you could guess how much money would have gone through Conor's pocket in a single match. Hey, so I wonder you have staying so long in this video, obviously watching this video, and I hope you like it very much. Well, if you do, why don't you turn on the notification? Now for the final turnover, the bus incident. This was one of the most famous incidents in the epic tale of Conor McGregor in his history. All the social media platforms were trending with the video of Conor throwing a full fence at Khabib's bus. But here's the real drama. Before UFC 223, Conor's teammate Artem Lobot was surrounded by Khabib and his teammates, and they had some serious talk. Well, if you are surrounded by MMA hulks from Russia, you better stay quiet. Anyways, hearing this news, Conor and his group marched out charting a private jet to New York to teach Khabib a lesson. Yeah, quiet the mafia stuff in real life. After reaching the Barclay Outlet Center, he secretly sneaked in with the help of the media outlet, which he owns by the way, to the press conference, which he was late, as usual, but managed to find out the team bus. And when he realized that all Khabib's teammates were inside the bus, Conor was in for a treat. Conor started attacking the bus by throwing anything over to it. He even threw a huge barricade to the bus which completely shattered the glasses. Later news came on that several fighters and even Khabib's father were injured during this event. And even the UFC had to be changed after this event. And yeah, as usual, Conor escaped from the punishment of UFC. But this time, he did not get away with the punishment from the law. Well, the state of New York found his act guilty and made him attend an anger management course. Yeah, I am serious. And don't think about doing the same thing and expecting the same for you. You are not the Conor McGregor. And now we are all thrilled and buckled up for the return of this legend against Mike Chandler, and as obvious as one of the most anticipated fights after Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. If you want to know more about Mike Tyson, click on the video above and see you later.